welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Here we are on the moon, near the site of the rapid unplanned disassembly of the latest version of the Lime-Sherbet rover. After an otherwise successful mission to the moon, getting science from 2 biomes. And we have here Desford Kerman, who is now waiting patiently for a ship to come and get him and bring him home, because he is carrying, among other things, some stored science, and we need to get him off the moon and back to Kerbin if we're going to make use of that science. And so now we adjourn to the launch pad. And here we have Patney Kerman, a spaceflight veteran and certified Kerbal genius, on the pad aboard a new lander vehicle, which is using a lifter that should look reasonably familiar, that I have added more of the large Globe 10 solid rocket boosters and tweaked the design a little bit for a moon mission. This mission will be specifically to get Patney Kerman out there to the moon. He's in a 3-man capsule by himself. His mission: get to the moon, get Desford Kerman, and bring him back to Kerbin. And grab a little bit of science along the way. So, without further ado, we throttle up to about 2/3. And let's get this show on the road. It's slow on the liftoff, but it does the job. Accelerating slowly at first, accelerating faster as a surface TWR of 1.74 at liftoff, and it just gets better from there. I want to say that you will notice that starting in this video, I have the in-game music turned off. And the reason for that is quite simply that I have gotten more of those nasty copyright claims on YouTube over that music, and so I have elected not to use it anymore, because those copyright claims, well, they are a pain in the butt to deal with, and to be perfectly selfish about it, they cut into my ability to monetize videos. And I don't want to say that it's all about the money, because it isn't. If I wasn't enjoying this, I wouldn't be doing it. But I'll say this: I make little enough off of YouTube as it is without copyright claims getting in the way. So the in-game music will be off from here forward. Another thing is that, as many people have pointed out over time, you probably hear the fans from my CPU and GPU cooling fans in the background. And I sincerely apologize for that, but there is absolutely not one single thing that I can do about it, because I am one of these people that I always have old computers and an old tower and so on. My computer tower is like circa 1995 or something. You know, it's very old. It's not designed with the modern stuff in mind and the ability to be not only cool and running good, but quiet. Basically, that would require me buying a whole new, or better yet, building a whole new computer system. And that's not going to happen for the foreseeable future, simply because I'm doing good. I'm going to be doing miraculously good just to catch up on paying off my rent, utilities, buying propane so that I could have heat and hot water when I need them, which I don't have right now. So it's a matter of priority. I clean up the sound with Audacity as best I can, but that's all I can do. So until I'm able to change that, unfortunately, what you hear is what you get. And I'm sorry if it's not good. I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. Now, coming up on staging here, so it's time to throttle up to max. Go ahead and engage our smart attitude hold. And I'm going to go ahead and complete the ride to orbit, and we'll get this thing on its way and get Desford Kerman back to Kerbal, whatever, you know, back to the planet for science. All right, ride to orbit is just about done. And with apoapsis 4 minutes away, and our periapsis is 72 kilometers, all we need is a quick circularization burn, and it shouldn't take very much. Okay. There we go. 98 by 98. Looks good to me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and schedule that with the alarm clock. "10 seconds worth of warning lead time." All right. This will work out pretty good. And, you know, there is something about this ship, this particular engine, the service propulsion system from KW Rocketry. I've noticed something a little bit odd about this thing, and I'll be able to show you here in just a minute when we get down to burn time. Okay, here we go. Looking at it straight from behind, you notice something odd about the thrust. It looks okay from the side, but when you look at it straight on, you see this. That is the only engine that I have ever seen do that. Most of the time, if you look at it from behind, you see standard rocket exhaust, only from the end. I have no idea why this one does that, but it does, reliably and consistently. Okay, let's see, 0.4 degrees out of plane. Set a plane change burn here. 0.4, it's positive, so we need a little bit of negative or anti-normal. .2, 0.0. All right, we'll go ahead and set that one. All right. And as we roll into position here, we're heading over to the night side, and that's when I can show off something else that I've done. I found a mod on the Kerbal Space Program forums last night, and this is something I've been wanting for a long time. A mod that makes a change to the minimum ambient lighting level, which means the dark side of the planet is no longer pitch freaking black where you can't see a bloody thing, and you can barely see anything even when the ship has lights on it. It's still darker than the daylight side, of course, but what it does, this mod raises the minimum light level, the minimum ambient light level. And this, I think, is an absolute godsend for YouTube videos, or screenshots for that matter. And I think that anybody who makes YouTube videos with KSP is going to want this. Look, I'm on the dark side right now. And while things are dark, you can still see. And then when I turn the lights on, oh, well, I can't do that in time warp. All right. That really shows up. Okay. All right, that takes care of that. But here we go. I'll time warp a little bit more here. Okay, we are absolutely on the dark side of the planet now. And while it is dark, I'll turn the lights off, you can still see something. You can see the planet surface below, you can see the ship. This, now, in terms of non-recording gameplay, this may not be such a big deal. You may want the realism of having it dark and whatnot. And that's true. It's perfectly realistic to want that. But when you're recording, you want to be able to see what you're recording. Otherwise, it just doesn't look right. It looks way too dark, especially when you allow for the fact that YouTube makes videos darker anyway. They've always done that. I don't know why, but they have. So, this mod, I'll have a link for it in the description. This is definitely something you want if you do any kind of recording. I know I certainly want it. Okay, where is the moon? There we are. Okay, so I'm going to be seeing moonrise about here, so let's go ahead and drop our maneuver node there. I'm pretty sure it's going to be where we need it. 800 meters per second is a standard for a moon transfer. So we start there. Moon periapsis, yeah, that's a little too far out. Let's advance our time, say 10 seconds at a time. Six-kilometer periapsis. Let's fine-tune this a little bit. 22, 28-kilometer moon periapsis. Looking good. Okay. Alright, 4-minute 55-second burn. So I'm going to need about 2.5 minutes. I'm going to set the alarm for 2 minutes and 45. Our maneuver node lined up, and we'll burn for the moon. Let's finish getting lined up. Yes, this minimum ambient lighting thing is fantastic. This is something I've been wanting for a long time, and I'm glad that it's finally there. This has made my list of must-have mods. Even somebody who is wanting to play die-hard vanilla only is going to be interested in this. So it's really worth having. All right, now let's do the time warp. Alright. Let it get a chance to line right back up on the last bit of it. There's the alarm. I'll get down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds or so, and that's when I'll begin the burn. Okay. And we're off to the races. Alright, I'll finish this burn, and we'll catch up with you in moon orbit. Alright, here we are, having just arrived in the moon's sphere of influence. And we do not have a periapsis, so we need to do something about that. A little bit of an outward burn should do it. Radio plus. And it's not going to take very much. 27. About 31 kilometers. That should be just fine. Set up an alarm for that burn. Okay. 15 seconds warning. It's a 9-second burn. Alright. And let's see. Where is the moon? Ah, there we are. There's the correct orientation. Get into position, a little bit of time warp, fix our periapsis so that we have one. So that we can do neat little things like choose where we're going to land. Okay. That off, SAS on, and burn it. Looking good. All right. Periapsis 31 kilometers. Looks good to me. All right, we'll drop another maneuver down here. We'll snap that to periapsis. This precise node thing is really great. Let's set in some retrograde, get ourselves into moon orbit. Alright, 30 by 31, looks good. Schedule it, 1 minute, 25 second burn, so that's going to be 30 plus half of 25, which is like 12 and a half or 13, call it 13, so about 45 seconds or so, 1 minute alarm will be good. It's switched around onto our node, and then we'll time warp and burn. All right. Okay, this will put us into a good moon orbit. And our transfer stage here, easily enough fuel to finish getting us into Kerbal orbit, do the transfer to the moon, and get us into a parking orbit around the moon. Okay, close that. Burn at about T-minus 45 seconds. All right. Okay, we ended up with a 32 by 27 orbit. That will be fine. And let's see. That's the first landing. And the site we want is right over here. Let me turn this doggone keyframe grid off. I don't know why it defaults to on, but okay. There's Desford Kerman right there, just a little bit north of the East Crater. So we'll be swinging around and setting up a landing. Go ahead and warp around. All right. Right there about opposite of where we're going to be landing. Oh, stop that. Just a little bit there to bring that side of the orbit down a little ways. Start lining up with it as we work it out. Okay, I'm going to bring it down to 15 kilometers. This is going to be burn it just as soon as we're lined up with it. Oh, right. Now we got a nice 15-kilometer periapsis, very close to the landing site. Right here where Desford Kerman is sitting. I'm going to go back here to the apoapsis. Oops, no, not the apoapsis. Periapsis. And let's see here. First of all, let's move this thing back. About like that. Let's see. Let's incline the orbit a bit so that we can pass right over the landing spot. And then apply the retrograde. Now I'm going to move this forward in time just a little bit. I want to allow for the fact that the moon is rotating. Alright, that should just about do it. I'm going to go ahead and schedule this, although I may not use the scheduling. It's there if I want to. Put this orbit mode. Well, wait a minute. Let me set this up for a 90-degree pitch so that when it comes time for landing, I can use this to ensure that I stay vertical. Alright. Now let's time warp in and see about landing this bugger. Okay, here we go. 10 minutes away. Running into that time warp limit. Just about there. Okay, a little bit more time warp. Let's see, 1 minute 21 seconds. Going to be burning at about 45 seconds. There's our destination right there. That's where that ship first landed, and that's its second landing, and the little pink spot should be Desford. Alright. Get rid of that. Okay. Turn this off, SAS on, because we don't want it drifting around trying to chase the node. 45 seconds and we burn. And we'll finish off the fuel in this tank, jettison that stage just before we get into landing mode. Alright. Looks like we're going to be coming down fairly close to where Desford is sitting. Okay, I'm going to continue burning a bit. Cut right there. Alright. Get rid of that. Turn retrograde. Just about out of fuel in that tank, so I'm going to go ahead and jettison it now. Okay, let's turn on our lights. Open the landing gear. Let's begin some deceleration. Turn that off, this on. Hold our position manually for a minute. Back to retrograde. Cut thrust. Desford's going to have a little ways to walk. There's no getting around it. Alright. Time to kill some velocity big time. On the plus side, we appear to have a reasonably flat area in which to land. Alright, now let's go to vertical mode. Thrusters on. Engines to slow our descent. We're at less than 3 kilometers altitude. And use the thrusters to kill the rest of our horizontal speed. We'll set down here, and Desford can take a little walk. Okay, horizontal speed is now appreciably nil. We are on a vertical descent. I don't know where the light's coming from. Shadow should probably appear off this way. Descending at about 10 to 11 meters per second. I'll let it climb a little bit as we descend and then kill the last of it. I know this is not the most fuel efficient way to land, but it's an effective one. And I have plenty of fuel. This ship was designed with multiple landings in mind. And perhaps someday it might do that. Right now, it's going to do one landing. And then it's going to sit there and wait while Desford Kerman heads over this way. "980 meters. Step up the thrust a little bit. Not accelerate anymore. Ground clatter, whatever, starting to show up. Ground clatter? What is ground clatter? A noise that comes out of the ground? Ground clatter. How about that? Alright, 650 meters to go. Nice, easy, safe, slow, non-eventful landing. Yeah, lots of fuel. Back off the thrust a little bit. Don't want to slow down too much way the heck up here. Still looking for the shadow. There it is, right there. I was completely wrong about where it was going to be. 180 degrees wrong. 300 meters from the surface. The lights are showing up. Boost the throttle up a little bit, start slowing down some more. And I appear to be right. This looks like a reasonably flat plane to land on. Desford's going to have about almost an 11-kilometer walk, but he can deal. "60 meters to go. One last burst of thrust. 15 meters. We're down. Okay, lights off. RCS off, Smart ASS off. All right. Okay, Patney Kerman has successfully arrived to pick up Desford. Now, Let's get switched over to Desford and walk him over here. Okay, Desford. Alright, fine. We'll switch to that, see if we can switch to Desford in the process. Come on, Desford. You're around here someplace. Here we are. Okay, where is your rescue ship? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna walk him over there. 4x type acceleration, as goofy as that looks. Turn the suit light on. I know he's got pack fuel and whatnot, but I'm just going to walk him over there and be safe. This guy's carrying valuable science and we don't want to risk it. So I'll see you there. All right, and Desford Kerman finally is arriving at the lander that has come here to take him home. It's been about, well, in terms of mission elapsed time, about a 3.5 to 4 hour walk. And that's about 3 hours or so in, well, about 1 hour or so in, oh, there it is, in terms of real time. Alright, now, if I recall correctly, yeah, the ladder down here is a little too close to the fuel tank, so he's going to have to jetpack up to the top of the tank. Get the time acceleration off. Alright, got the jetpack. Head up. Grab onto the ladder, get up into the capsule. Oops, I forgot about that. Okay, and he is aboard. Alright. Now, while we're here, before departing, let's hit the action group for the repeatable science things. Temperature, we can't get a pressure scan, of course. Keep that. We get the goo reports. And the second goo report to replace the ones that were lost when the rover was destroyed. And now the materials bay. Okay. Keep all of that. Now, let's see. Alright. I'd say we're good to go. Time to lift off and get the heck out of here. Alright. SAS on. And let's throttle it up. Gear up. Pitch over to the 90-ish. And these boys are headed for home. Let's get out the flight stats. And the smart ASS. How's fuel in these holding? Oh, good grief, got plenty. Lots of fuel. Okay. Just burn this thing into orbit and send it home. All right. Okay, 40 kilometers looks like it ought to be enough for an apoapsis. Let's do a circularization burn. .42 by 45. Looks good to me. Line up with our node. 23 seconds. We'll burn at about 11. Whoops. Or we'll burn right now. Go ahead and jettison those now, because we're not going to need them. Okay. Orbit's probably not perfect. 43 by 40, good enough. More than good enough. Alright. Okay, let's get over here for a return burn. This shouldn't cost too awfully much. Okay, let's back that off. Kerbal Periapsis, 1,500 kilometers. Okay, that's about the best we're going to do there, I think. Unless changing the time of the burn will help. Yes, it will. Let's see, Kerbal Periapsis 43 kilometers, 35, 33, 31, 29. All right. And it's only going to cost 248 meters per second in DV. We've got 2,000. So this lander's capable of quite a bit. All right. Schedule our burn. 27 seconds. Start burning at about 14 seconds, so let's give it a 30-second warning. No, 20-second warning. That'll work. Assume the node, warp it, and head this guy for home. Both of these guys. And while we're waiting, let's do the repeatable science stuff again. Okay, we can't get a pressure scan. Apparently we can't get a temperature scan at this altitude. Log temperature. Oh, we'd have to transmit. Okay. I'm not going to be transmitting. We're taking this science home. Alright. Let's time warp around. Alright. Here we go. And we burn. Turn that off, turn this on. Just about there. Yeah, let's get rid of that. 287. Let's see if we can fix that a little bit. A little bit more of a burn, low speed. Bring it down to about 30 kilometers so that we can go ahead and re-enter as soon as we get there. All right, that's good. Let's be on our way. All right, we're headed for home. All right. Turn this thing retrograde. And since we've got plenty of fuel, we'll use some of it for braking once we hit the atmosphere. Could even come down close to Kerbal Space Center. Look at this. Excellent. That means recovery will be an easier job. All right, now I gotta see this. Periapsis is out here in the ocean. We're over the home continent. All right. Full thrust braking burn. There's the Space Center down here. Okay, they're gonna come down in the ocean off the coast here. No big deal. And with the materials bay and goo instruments up there on top of this big 3-man capsule, they will be protected on landing, which is important because we don't want to destroy the science again. Plenty of fuel here. Starting to get some re-entry effect, but not very pronounced because we're doing a lot of braking on the way in. So far, we haven't even lost the solar panels, so I'd say that's pretty impressive. That's how you can tell you're doing enough braking. You don't lose the solar panels. Well, so much for that theory. But that's all right. We don't need them anymore. Okay, fuel is exhausted. Jettison that stage. And our boys are coming home. Okay, ought to have a decent amount of science out of this. And I think what I'm going to do is that the next mission is going to be an unmanned mission, perhaps several unmanned missions, heading to the sun and other fun places. Okay, we're down below 300 meters per second, approaching 7 kilometers, heading for 6. Let's deploy the parachutes. SAS off. And not a problem. This is going to be a nice safe landing. The impact tolerance on this capsule is like 45 meters a second or so, so we won't have a problem. Whereas the impact tolerance on the science bay is 6 meters per second. If it hits anything any faster than that, it's destroyed. So it's good to know we won't have that problem. All right, let's go ahead and time warp it down. Get this thing down on the surface, or in the water. Okay, 5.9 meters per second. We're in the water. All right, good deal. Let's recover. See what we can do with the science. Okay, 478.2 science for this mission. Total of 516 we've got now. Let's go spend it. Alright, let's see, what do we got here? The hitchhiker container and some other bits and pieces. Airplane parts and fairings. We got 516. This tier here, 300. You know what? I'm going to finish out this tier before going on to this next one any further. So we'll grab that. We'll grab this.